Welcome to Simple Endurance Coaching's Everyday Cyclists and Runners Guide to Performance video podcast. I'm Paul Warlowski, head coach and owner of Simple Endurance Coaching. And each week we talk about one thing that's working for everyday cyclists and runners for their performance, health, and fitness. Subscribe to the podcast below and sign up on the website simpleendurancecoaching.com for a free core strength and stability video. Here is this week's podcast. Fueling your body for optimal performance in training and racing is a crucial aspect of any endurance athlete's journey. Whether you're a cyclist or a runner, understanding how to fuel yourself effectively can make all the difference in reaching your goals. In this podcast, we're going to explore the importance of low-glycemic carbohydrates, the role of protein in recovery fuel, and give you valuable insights into organizing your eating patterns throughout the day. When it comes to fueling your body for training and racing, the quality of carbohydrates you choose plays a crucial role. Low glycemic carbohydrates are an essential component of a well-balanced diet for endurance athletes. Unlike high glycemic carbs that cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels, low glycemic carbs provide slow and steady release of energy. These complex carbohydrates found in foods like whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and beans, legumes, are digested more slowly by the body. This means they provide a sustained source of fuel during long training rides or races without causing drastic fluctuations in blood glucose levels, meaning energy. Including low glycemic carbs in your pre-workout meal can ensure that you have enough stored glycogen to power through intense exercise while avoiding sudden crashes or feelings of fatigue. Additionally, incorporating these types of carbs into post-workout meals aids in replenishing depleted glycogen stores efficiently. Carbs play a crucial role in fueling the performance of both cyclists and runners. They are the primary source of energy for our muscles during exercise, providing quick and readily available fuel. Here's the quick science. When we consume carbs, they are broken down into glucose, which is then used by our muscle cells to generate ATP, adenosine triphosphate, the molecule responsible for supplying energy. For endurance athletes like cyclists and runners who engaged in prolonged periods of physical activity, having enough of a supply of carbs is essential because carbohydrates help delay fatigue by replenishing glycogen stores in the muscles and in your liver. This allows athletes to maintain their intensity and perform at their best for long durations. Including carbohydrates as part of your pre-workout or pre-race meal can help top off your glycogen stores in your muscles and liver before you hit the road or trail. During extended training sessions or races lasting more than an hour, consuming easily digestible carbohydrate-rich snacks or sports drinks can help maintain blood sugar levels and delay fatigue. Remember that each person has a unique nutritional need based on factors such as body composition, training and volume intensity, goals and genetics, etc. So it's always a good idea to figure out a plan during training, but not during racing. Fueling your performance with appropriate amounts of carbohydrates will ensure optimal energy levels throughout your training sessions or races. Protein is often associated with building and repairing muscles, but it's important as a recovery fuel goes beyond that. When we engage in intense training or racing, our muscles experience micro tears and inflammation. Protein plays a crucial role in the healing process by providing the necessary amino acids to rebuild the damaged tissues. In addition to muscle repair, protein also helps regulate hormone production and supports immune function. This is especially important for endurance athletes who put their bodies through rigorous training sessions like strength training and intervals on a regular basis. To maximize the benefits of protein as a recovery fuel, it's essential to consume it within the optimal time frame after exercise. Research suggests that consuming protein within 30 minutes to an hour post-workout can enhance muscle synthesis and aid in recovery. While there are various sources of protein available, such as animal products, meat, eggs, and plant-based options such as legumes and tofu, it's important to consider high-quality sources that provide all the essential amino acids. Additionally, combining protein with carbohydrates can further optimize recovery by replenishing glycogen stores. I often prescribe protein supplements like powders to my athletes simply because they, particularly the women, find it challenging to get enough protein in their diets simply from food. When it comes to fueling on the bike or on the run, timing is key. You want to make sure you're consuming enough carbohydrates to keep your energy levels up and avoid dehydration. One popular strategy is to consume small amounts of carbohydrates every 15 to 20 minutes during your workout to reach 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrates an hour. There are a variety of options for fueling on the bike or run, including gels, bars, even real food like bananas or sandwiches. But it's important, it's vital that you experiment with different options during training rides or runs so you can find out where it works best for you. For example, in long gravel races, I add some carbohydrate powder into my bottles along with Embark maple syrup to keep my glycogen stores topped off. It's also important to consider the duration and intensity of your ride when planning your fueling strategy. For longer rides or high-intensity efforts, you need more carbohydrates than during shorter, less intense rides, but don't wait until the race to try things out. In terms of research, one study titled Nutrition and Supplement Update for the Endurance Athlete provides a comprehensive review of the key recommendations for macronutrients, hydration, and supplements for endurance athletes. It highlights the importance of carbohydrate-rich diets for optimal performance during competitions and intense training. The study emphasizes that endurance athletes should consume 8 to 10 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight per day to support the high glucose demands of their physical activity. This is from the Journal of International Society of Sports Nutrition. A second study entitled Nutrient Adequacy in Endurance Athletes evaluated the dietary intake of 95 athletes. The researchers used a 24-hour dietary recall method to assess their nutrient intake, and the study found that carbohydrate intake was crucial for meeting the energy demands of endurance exercise. It recommended increasing carbohydrate intake to around 70% of total daily calories to support the high volume of glucose activities. Other research suggests that carb diets are better than others for endurance athletes. While there is some ongoing debate regarding the optimal diet for endurance athletes, one study provides insights into the comparison between a carbohydrate-based diet and a paleo or keto-based diet. And it compared the effects of a high-fat, low-carb diet with a high-carb, low-fat diet on cycling performance. The results of the study indicated that the carb-based diet led to better endurance performance compared to the keto-based diet. The participants on the carbohydrate-based diet reported greater power output and cycling performance during prolonged exercise sessions. This suggests that a high carbohydrate intake may optimize endurance performance in athletes. This study was called a comparison of high-fat, low-carbohydrate and high-carbohydrate, low-fat diets on endurance performance, a randomized crossover trial. Boring title, but it tells you everything. The criticism of this study is that it didn't take as long as keto advocates say that it needs to happen, because a lot of athletes have turned to paleo or keto diets in recent years, believing that these high-fat approaches could enhance their endurance performance and general health. Advocates say that keto or paleo diets build better long-term health. However, when it comes to fueling for endurance activities like cycling and running, these trendy diets may not be the best choice. While both paleo and keto emphasize cutting out processed food and focusing on whole natural ingredients, which is good, they significantly limit carbohydrate carbohydrate intake. And since carbs are the primary source of fuel, especially at higher intensities, restricting carbs on these diets, you may find yourself lacking in energy and unable to perform optimally. Additionally, research has shown that a diet higher in carbs can improve endurance performance by replenishing glycogen stores more efficiently. This is crucial for sustaining long-duration efforts like a long gravel race without hitting a wall. So instead of adopting a strict paleo or keto guidelines as an endurance athlete, it's important to strike a balance between macronutrients, including sufficient amounts of complex carbs along with lean proteins and healthy fats will provide your body with the fuel it needs for optimal training and racing. Some keto or paleo users suggest that since you need carbs on race day, limit your carbs until 2 days before the big event, then dig in. So when it comes to organizing your eating during the day, there are a few key factors to consider. First and foremost, it's important to listen to your body and give it the fuel it needs when it needs it. This means tuning in to hunger cues and eating regular meals and snacks throughout the day. One strategy that many athletes find helpful is meal prepping. Taking some time at the beginning of the week to plan and prepare meals can save you time and stress later on. For example, consider batch cooking grains, proteins, and vegetables that you can mix and match for balanced meals throughout the week. My wife just cooked up a batch of chicken, for example. Another important aspect of organizing your eating is considering nutrient timing. Aim to consume a balance of carbs, protein, and healthy fats before, during, and after your workouts or races. Before exercise, opt for easily digestible foods that provide sustained energy, such as bananas or oatmeal. Additionally, be sure to stay hydrated throughout the day by drinking water regularly. Dehydration can negatively impact performance, so make an effort to drink fluids consistently. Don't forget about recovery nutrition. After training or racing, prioritize consuming a combination of carbohydrates and protein within 30 to 60 minutes post-exercise in order to replenish glycogen stores and promote muscle repair. Finding a routine that works best for you may take some trial and error, but being mindful of your body's needs will help optimize your performance both on training days and race days. So we've discussed the importance of low-glycemic carbohydrates as a source of sustained energy, the role of carbohydrates in fueling both cyclists and runners, and the significance of protein for recovery. So how can you optimize or periodize your eating to optimize your training? We periodize our training, we can do the same thing for our eating. To help maximize training adaptations and support recovery from intense workouts or races, many athletes optimize for an approach called periodized eating. This involves manipulating macronutrient ratios, carbs, proteins, and fats, based on training requirements. For instance, based on high-intensity training or race preparation phases known as the build, you might increase carbohydrate intake. That might be helpful. Since carbs are that primary fuel source during intense exercise, replenishing the glycogen stores becomes vital. Emphasizing whole grains like quinoa or brown rice along with starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes can provide a steady release of energy. On lighter training days, yoga or rest days during base phases where mileage is lower but the focus still remains on aerobic development, you could reduce your overall caloric intake, because that may benefit weight management efforts while ensuring adequate nutrition. Furthermore, it's important not to overlook the power protein plays in supporting muscle recovery after strenuous exercise sessions. To enhance muscle repair, the optimal dose would range between 20 and 30 grams post-workout, spread throughout 3 hours. Use protein sources such as chicken, fish, eggs, tofu, lentils, and protein powders are good supplements to have on hand. However, it's important to eat enough to fuel your workouts. You may find that reducing your carb intake on a rest day just leads to constant hunger because your body still needs to replenish the fuel from the previous hard work. Thank you for watching this edition of the Simple Endurance Coaching video podcast, the Everyday Cyclists and Runners Guide to Performance. Each week we dive into what's working in endurance sports training for the everyday cyclist and runner. Find the full article on my blog linked in the notes and get a free core strength and stability training video when you opt in to receive my weekly blog post about what works or what seems to work in endurance sports. Sign up below for a virtual coffee so we can discuss your goals, talk about your questions, and discuss making your endurance training more effective, fun, and simple with a capital S. Thanks, and I'll see you out in the road.